Hey, do you guys remember when Transformers the movie came up to Cinemark? It was like the 25th anniversary, the 30th anniversary of that movie. And I went to see it, and there was like a lot of me's sitting in those seats watching that movie. Well, guess what? Tonight is, I'm pretty sure it's a Toho movie. It's Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and it's the 2022 production, Toho production of this movie. And it's a one-time only showing at the Cinemark. I guarantee it's going to be exactly the same thing. A bunch of me's sitting in those seats, being nerdy and just... Well, yeah, just being socially awkward. So, I'm so excited about seeing this movie, though. It's gonna take me back. I remember watching the Godzilla movie. I was like 5 years old when I started watching these movies on Superhost. I loved these movies. So I'm kind of excited to see the updated version of the Toho Godzilla. In just a few seconds, I'm going to be right back to let you know what this big nerd thinks about his trip to Nostalgia Lane. All right, see you in just a few. Bye. Well, guys, I just got done watching a movie, and I'm going to be... I won't be able to contain my excitement because I really did like this. And I will go through into the reasons why I liked it. But let's just go over the plot real quick. We have Godzilla that shows up randomly. He shows up, so the humans find that they need to create a human response to Godzilla, the force of nature that is Godzilla. They are referring to the 1954 version of Godzilla when they are referring to the first attack on Tokyo. And they describe how they defeated that creature. Now, here's the strange thing was, in this movie universe, in this Toho universe, there's been more than one Godzilla. I was kind of unclear about that, but obviously there was, because they are creating the Mechagodzilla out of the bones, the old bones of the original Godzilla. I'm not... All right, let's just continue on, and then I'll go into it. So we meet our female protagonist, who is a pilot, who in the very beginning of the movie makes a wrong decision and costs the lives of her crew. So she is kind of shunned when she is pulled back into this situation. We have this the typical scientist with a typical daughter who is trying to forge a relationship with his daughter, even though her mother died. And she has some kind of unnatural obsession with some kind of, what was it called, a sleeping plan or something like that. So all these little moving pieces all connect together, and then they finally create the Mechagodzilla, and then the Mechagodzilla finally fights the Godzilla. And yeah, I'm not going to give too much away. I'm not spoiling anything. We've all seen these Toho movies before. Mechagodzilla fights Godzilla, and they end up in a draw at the end. It's a tale told from the beginning of time, right? It's always been the same movie with these Toho movies. Yeah, the movie itself, it was extremely campy. It seemed to take the tone from the 1960s movies, the 1950s and 60s, more the 1960s movies, because that was when the rubber suit movies really came into its own. So it had an extreme feel of that. Now, the costumes were slightly updated. The special effects were slightly updated, but not to the greatest. If you look at this movie at a standpoint from the American standpoint of today, man, the special effects were kind of crappy. But if you take it from 1960s Toho movies, man, the special effects were kind of cool. That's how it breaks down. And I think that maybe me and Kevin were discussing it coming out of the theater. It may be them like trying to call back that feeling of those original movies, but I also think it has something to do with the fact of like their cultural way of telling a story, or even like the budget that they actually like. The United States puts a ridiculous amount of money into these movies, like $500 million to produce like a Marvel movie, and sadly enough, other countries don't prioritize their entertainment like the U.S. does, so they're not spending as much money on these movies as we would. So you're going to see that totally, like you would totally see there were total matte paintings and matte pictures that live action characters were being set up on, and you can tell that they were green screened or composited into the shots. Honestly, though, I didn't care. I did not care. For every goofy moment of this movie, it tugged at my heart. The 7 to 10-year-old Scott that watched these movies when he was a kid, I was instantly transported back to that time period, and I could not help but feel very nostalgic for this movie. I loved this movie from beginning to end. If you were to look at the plot, it was very predictable, and it was very template. It was very every single Toho movie is about the same. And it actually worked in its benefit. Should I even give it a score? I'm going to give it 100%. I love this movie. It just made me feel very childlike. And with the campy plot, with the campy special effects, it just added to it instead of taking away from it. It made me feel warm inside, and I loved this movie. I'm definitely giving this 100%. And I did want to give just a mention, a really close. I wish that Cinemark would actually plan these events a little better and mark them better on their calendar. It just seems like they show up randomly. Either that, or there's a pattern that's going on that I haven't recognized. But I love these events. Like I said before we went into this, I watched Transformers the cartoon, the 1986, 87, when that theatrical released cartoon was actually shown. I got to see that 35 years later on the big screen, and not only was it cool to see on the big screen, but they had kind of an event around it. It wasn't much, but they had trivia questions up on the screen, and they they did special shorts that were made specifically for that movie that were animated that were actually really genuinely funny. And this event was no exception to that. They actually had trivia questions that were flashed up on the screen, and they actually had a short where it was Godzilla versus I think the translation was Smog Monster in the U.S., but it was Hedron or something like that in the theater in Japanese. And I really enjoyed that. I thought it was super cool. I love these events, and I wish that I could attend them a little better than if they advertised a little better. I would be here more and more to see these special events. That's it, guys. 100% for this movie. I really did enjoy it. The next movie I am going to go see, I keep on promising it, and it is coming out November 14th, somewhere around there. It's like mid-November, is Wakanda Forever. It's going to come up next. I'm probably going to see that next. But, man, this was a great time, and I had a great time. So, that's it, guys. As always, I wish everybody peace. Monterey. I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.